Hello, and welcome to the West Cook Homeownership Center, which is a program of the Oak Park Regional Housing Center. The Oak Park Regional Housing Center is a partner in the Austin United Alliance, which is a partnership with the Heartland Housing Organization to redevelop the Laramie State Bank. The Laramie State Bank Redevelopment Project is a project from Mayor Lori Lightfoot's Invest Southwest initiative, which is going to redevelop some key locations across the city in 10 of Chicago's most underserved communities. My name is Baxter Swilly. I'm the Public Affairs Director for Oak Park Regional Housing Center and the West Cook Homeownership Center. I'm joined here today with our partner, BOA Construction, represented by Mr. Lee Fantroy, who is a senior executive in the organization. Lee, can you tell us a little bit more about BOA Construction, how long it's been in business, how you guys have come to be one of the premier African-American construction companies in the city of Chicago and perhaps throughout the world, throughout the country, I suspect. So tell us a little bit more.
Sure, no, I appreciate that, Baxter. And again, thanks for having me on this program. Really delighted to be here, and I'm sure I speak on behalf of BOA Construction. Anytime we get an opportunity to reach out to the community and let them know what we're doing as a construction company, we it's just something that we humble, and we're just so glad to be here and be part of. So going back to your first question, a little bit about BOA Construction. BOA Construction was started by our president, NOSA, in 2008. Very humble beginnings. He had a very strong focus in terms of trying to build a construction management, general construction company that really speaks to diversity. And I have to say he achieved that well. And so with that, we started off in healthcare. Some of our projects were very small interior build-out projects in healthcare. And from there, our trajectory, if you will, has been nothing but a phenomenal growth with good leadership, good employees, good staffing. We have been able to really make an imprint within the construction industry, not only here in Chicago, but we also are starting to branch out into other states as well. So at this point in time, BOA Construction, we started off in healthcare, but now we are in every aspect of construction, whether it's development, public projects, healthcare, higher education, you name it, we're in it. And not only do we do general contracting, but we also do construction management work as well. We have internally a full staff of a estimating division as well within BOA Construction, which allows us to provide construction management and estimating program management services to our clients.
Awesome. I feel like that's a lot, and that is a lot that's a full-scale company that's able to do a lot of things. What would you say is one of the projects that you're most proud of having developed and constructed here in the city of Chicago that perhaps some of our viewers would know about?
I'm going to have to be honest. All of the projects that we do are near and dear to us in a way. And the reason why I say that is because I myself grew up in Chicago. I remember, I don't want to tell my age too much, but
come on, brother. Come on with it. It's all right.
Let's put it this way. I was born in the '60s, right?
Okay.
All right, and I remember as I got into this industry, I started off wanting to go into architecture, and from there, I went to school for it. And one of the questions that I used to ask my mom, as I used to go to go down parts of Chicago. It's like, who was responsible for developing communities and everything, because our communities were so devastated looking,
Right.
Underdeveloped.
Mm-hmm.
And so she informed me I was an architect, and from there I've always wanted to pursue construction. Fast forward, as I was coming up through the 70s and 80s and even the 90s, there was nothing really going on. It's just really recently, you're starting to see this mega, infusion, if you will, of construction activity taking place. And so in each project that we do, which goes back to the core of BOA Construction in terms of making a community impact, a lot of the projects that we're involved with involves the community. So one really doesn't hold more than the other, per se. There are projects that I'm involved with, that I'm part of. But again, we have Laramie Bank. That's a gem to me because I understand the impact of that particular project in the community. It's unlike any other, and that's something that we at Boa Construction are extremely proud to be part of.
And it's interesting that you mentioned the community. This is really a large-scale project. Laramie State Bank on the west side of the city of Chicago, the Austin community, which has seen so much disinvestment and blight over the years. And now, through the Invest Southwest initiative, there's this huge development that is going to be done in this community. And as an African American construction company, you are going to be leading the effort to literally redevelop a community because as the public affairs director of the community engagement component of this development, I see the impact that this project is going to have on the community. And it's one thing for us to pursue the financing for it and to do the community engagement, but it's another thing to actually build the building.
Right.
And to make sure that it's everything that the community needs. If we could see some slides of what the project is going to look like, we can talk a little bit more about what you guys are going to do to make this project sort of come to life. And I think between you and I working together, the community engagement component is really important. The construction component is really important. But one part that I think is probably left out is that there's going to be a lot of jobs, a lot of opportunities for subcontractors, for local workers, for residents that actually benefit economically from this project. Can you tell us a little bit about the hiring process, bid opportunities available to local subcontractors?
Sure.
I know there's going to be Section 3 businesses and MBW. So just give us a little overview of how all that's going to come together on this project.
Yeah, sure. So, like you said, this is a phenomenal opportunity to have businesses get involved, especially MBE and WBE firms get involved in this project. And, our approach has always been, and that, again, that's what we pride ourselves on, is how do we make everything inclusive? And I think one of the things that we've already started with UBAXTA as well as with the other agencies, we've already started to do some kickoffs where we're doing outreach events within the community, right? I mean, that's one of the first steps. How do we start to notify the community what's going on regarding this project? Not only just the community, but also subcontractors as well. This is a large project, right? And we know, it's just not one person can possibly do all this, right? Whether it's a electrical contractor, plumbing contractor, it doesn't matter. This is a large project, and therefore we're encouraging, as we continue to talk to various subcontractors on how to partner with other people, how to create those alliances, how to create that teamwork so that you can put yourself in a position to be extremely competitive in identifying opportunity on this project. That's one thing. The other thing is that we're not going to allow this project to go forth without MBE and W participation at as many levels as we identify it to be. So that means we're going to be looking at how we, break out bid packages and make them smaller and things of that nature as well, in addition to our outreach efforts. So, I mean, there's a whole menu, if you will, of things that we're looking at to try to make sure that we have community engagement on this project.
So are the slides live? Just want to make sure. Okay. So this is a view of what the project is going to look like.
Yes.
And anyone who knows currently what the corner of Laramie and Chicago Avenue currently looks like, you can envision what kind of an upgrade this is, and how much of an improvement to the community this will be. I just feel like a building that was built in 1928, where it's been completely gutted on the inside, and there's just so much obsolescence with this building. You know, it doesn't look anything like this right now, but you altogether, you know, with 78 housing units and a new bank branch, an incubator, there'll be a cafe inside the retail space.
Right.
It's, you know, the building is almost 128 years old. I'm just, you know, I would like to ask you how you go about reimagining and rebuilding something that has been so undervalued and sort of abused. I mean, it's been neglected. It's been neglected for almost 13 years. So how do you go from what it is today to what we're seeing here on the screen?
Well, I think you have to really attribute that transformation to several things. One, the architectural team, right? Because, and also the community. You know, we build buildings, right? But the design here is a reflection of community input as well as from the architectural, right? So we are basically being instruments of that creativity. And so that's how we look at that, right? We did not, come up with the design for this, but we do understand how to build it. We do understand how to work with ownership as well as the design team to make sure that the design is within that cost parameters. And so that's the value that we bring. But the creativity of this project, you have to really give that to the community as well as to the design team.
Yeah, agreed. I appreciate that answer. This slide here is about a bid opportunity subcontractor meeting we had a couple weeks ago.
Sure.
And if before we let you go, if we could talk a little bit about that meeting we had with subcontractors, and if you could bring in a little bit about Section 3, I don't think we've discussed that yet. And if we could talk a little bit about the job fair that's coming up.
Sure.
Characterize the bid opportunities meeting that we had a couple weeks ago and how you feel about the potential subcontractors on this project.
Sure. So the bid meeting that we had a few weeks ago, I think is one of many steps in terms of our outreach efforts. It's one where we can get in front of the community, we can start letting them know. It's an opportunity where we can start tracking those participants and start saying, hey, following up with them. Are you going to participate with this project? How do you plan to participate with this project? Are you going to bid on it? All these type of things. In addition to that, it's an opportunity for us because a lot of those participants were from the community. So as we start to put together and looking at, bringing in numbers and bids and all that, we want to make sure that one, that there's an opportunity there. Maybe, depending on the size, they may not be able to do it all. But we can say, hey, listen, we have someone over here that's in the community, and they may not be able to do it all, but they can do portions of it. And that's what we want to try to look at here. We want to look at what is our strategy for inclusion and how we're going to go about doing it, whether it's all or whether it's a portion. But the goal is to make sure that we have that interface with those subcontractors. We have that interface with those contractors within the community. And not only do we have that interface, but we put some strategy in place to bring them into the project, or at least to give them a good opportunity to participate in the project.
I really appreciate how you frame that, because it's really all about an opportunity.
Right.
And I think what the whole equity conversation has been over the last, I would say, decade, is it's not been necessarily the achievement gap, it's been the opportunity gap. And we found that when African American subcontractors, general contractors like yourself, get the opportunity, they actually perform really well on some of the largest projects across the country. And for me, I envision this project as a windfall for the community. It's an opportunity to participate on a $45 million project where, perhaps it will be a wealth building opportunity. You know, some businesses may be able to transform the trajectory of their financial future by getting on a project like this. Do you appreciate that part of it? You know, when you're bringing people in, do you want? I know you understand that, but how do you feel about offering that opportunity to local black-owned carpenters, plumbers, electricians?
Well, let me say this, Baxter. It's the feeling is undescribable because at that point in time, you knowing what you're doing, it's about helping people, right? It's about helping the community, and that's critical, and that's what we're about, and that's what we want to do. I think one of the things that I want to share with the viewers as well is that this is just not about construction. A lot of times, and this is going to require additional efforts. A lot of times when these construction projects, especially these large-scale projects take place, is that people just look at the construction opportunities because a lot of times when that is taking place, it's one and done. After construction is over, that's it. However, I mean, you're going to have to be able to maintain this facility, right? And so therefore, additional efforts will have to be made, to continue to work with, the various developers to say, hey, what about maintenance contracts? What about security contracts? What about landscaping contracts? These are the type of contracts that are ongoing, right? These are the contracts we definitely can look at where, after the construction is over with, you can say, hey, we can definitely start to hire people within the community that can maintain this building. And so you're talking about wealth generation, that in itself, because that's going to give them opportunity to pursue other projects outside of this one, because now they're starting to get an infusion of cash within their businesses for these, what I call hospitality projects or maintenance services that can allow them to grow their businesses. And then they can be centered right there in the community as well. So it's twofold the way I see it.
So in that vein, can you tell us a little bit more about Section 3?
Well, Section 3 has to deal with income, basically. And so, it's income driven and it's based upon that. It's a federal program. And matter of fact, we're having a Section 3 outreach event today as we speak. So that's the whole goal of that, is to identify the Section 3 initiatives. One, from a business standpoint, and then two, from a resident standpoint. And so those are the two components associated with Section 3.
So what about the residency requirements on this project?
So the residency requirement, it's my understanding that it's based off of hours, which is 25%, I believe, and so that's what we have to try to shoot for. So that's
You mean for Chicago residents? So the Chicago residency. So you have to hire at least so many Chicago residents.
So it's two different things you're looking at. You're looking at Section 3 relative to what's that goal, and then the Chicago residency goal is 50%.
Okay.
So that's what that is. So 50% of this project has to be Chicago residents.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
And that brings me to our job fair, which is going to happen this weekend.
Right. Gotcha.
October 1st, Saturday morning, 10 to 2 on the west side.
That is correct.
By the Hand Club for Kids, 415 North Laramie, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. There's going to be a job fair. We are the Austin United Alliance. Boyle Construction is going to be leading this. We're partnering with Hire 360 and Manufacturing Renaissance. Tell us a little bit about hiring for this project.
Well, the hiring for the project, again, we have established we're sending out bid documents through our portal, which we've already discussed at one of the subcontractor outreach meetings. And so that's one of the ways in which we are getting the information out to the community. In addition to that, we have a list of residents and businesses from the west side as well that we want to target as well. So and that's another avenue and concern of ours. We want to make sure at the end of the day that those opportunities are there. So again, if there's anyone out there that's interested in the project, please come on out to the job fair. You can at least meet some of our estimators that will be out there, and they can give you information about how you can possibly bid and participate in the project as well.
Saturday morning, 10 a.m. at By the Hand Club in the Austin community, 415 North Laramie Street. We will be holding a job fair. BOA Construction is a general contractor on the Laramie State Bank redevelopment project, and there is a job fair, a hiring event on Saturday, October 1st, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Come on out. You're looking for a job. You want to reinvigorate your career. Young people and people from the community are strongly encouraged to come out and take advantage of these opportunities. Mr. Fantroy, it's a pleasure, my friend, and I'm looking forward to working with you. I'm looking forward to winning with you, and let's not take the easy route. Let's go get it.
Oh, yeah, we definitely, and that's one thing, boy, we definitely don't like the easy route. We wouldn't be here if we tried to pursue the easy route.
Right.
So definitely, we are going to do everything that we can to really make this not only a successful board, but also for the community and everyone who's supporting this project.
You bet.
All right.
Take care. All
Thank
right.
you.